So, in this story, I want to talk about why I personally thought high school was a lot harder than college. And when I tell people that, they usually tend to think I'm a little crazy. But let me explain. It's because the high school I went to, it was ranked number 11th in California. And it was in a pretty nice area, I'd say. The school was known for its AP and its IB programs. So, it was a really good school. And even though I lived far away from that school, my parents really wanted me to go to that school because it had a ton of really good benefits, specifically the IB program, which schools around areas that I live in didn't have at all. So that was a huge benefit. That isn't to say that even though it had a bunch of good programs and it was ranked extremely highly in the state of California, I didn't experience a lot of difficulty because I would say high school was probably one of the most trying times within my life, given that the amount of academic pressure that I had gotten was nothing like I ever experienced before. I remember distinctly that I actually took bio the summer before ninth grade, and I ended up getting a C plus in that class, which is kind of unbelievable to some of you because I did really well on the MCAT and I'm about to go to medical school. But yes, there was a time where I did get a C in bio honors specifically. Yeah, because I had no idea how to study back then. And high school really, it kicked me in the butt. I'm not going to lie. It was super hard for that reason. And probably some of you might relate to this too. But it was also very hard to make friends there too. I felt like that people always got into their cliques, especially with like the popular kids. And specifically at that school, I really felt like your popularity was determined based on the grades you ended up getting. So people who got higher grades typically were more popular and more sought after. And this made a lot of sense because a lot of times these popular kids would go on to go to very prestigious universities like Harvard, Yale, Stanford, all the Ivy Leagues, really, that everybody's trying to get into. The really super duper competitive schools. There was a lot of that buzz around my high school in particular. And to some extent, I thought it created a very toxic culture where people were judged on their grades and there was like a social hierarchy based on what grades you ended up getting in high school. So it was extremely competitive and it was hard to make friends. It made it seem like that people weren't really being 100% genuine and that they were just trying to use you to get better grades. So that's why I thought high school was particularly hard back in the day. Yeah. And yeah, the experience, it really shaped me, I would say like it was super hard to be social in high school for that reason. Also too, because I lived far away from school, I couldn't really stay around to hang out with friends afterwards. So it was quite difficult for me in that regard too, because of the culture and then also because I didn't stick around for long. And I just pretty much went back home, had to drive around like 15 miles. I think that's how far my house was from the high school, which is very far because most people end up going to high school super close to where they live. Like usually some people may not even have to drive to get there. They walk. Wasn't the case for me. I had to take the freeway to get to high school and it was like about 20-30 minutes in the morning. I don't know how I did it looking back on it, given that I graduated in like 2017. I don't know if I have like any grad photos I could post like right there. But yeah, high school, I would say, was a lot harder than college because it was a bigger wake-up call in terms of how I had to study and how I had to change my study strategies during that period of time. Yeah, that's essentially what it boiled down to. So that's why I thought high school was harder than college. Also, too, in high school, I felt like I got worse grades, again, because of the steep learning curve. And I think that's what prepared me for college. I'm not here making this video trying to talk bad about my high school experience because even though I did experience a lot of trials and tribulations, and quite a few negative experiences, I think that there were quite a few positive experiences that I had. I met some amazing teachers in high school, some of them who I'm still in contact with today. And they are extremely proud that I'm going on my journey to going on to medical school. Some of them were like, wow, I can't believe that kid was in my class. But yeah, there were positive experiences like that in high school. Some people there, they really made a positive difference. Like I remember the guy who owned, I don't know if it's owned, that's the correct word to say, but one of the staff members who operated the ASB, he was super kind to me every morning because I would get there at like 6:45 a.m. every single day. He would always greet me and he was just super nice. Now I remember that was a great experience too. But yeah, I remember that it was just a hard experience then, because of the amount of studying and preparation that I had to do. And it ultimately prepared me for college. And now I'm about to become a doctor really soon. So for those of you who are going through the same thing, don't be discouraged and don't really give up at all. don't get up. Actually, don't give up at all. I shouldn't have said really. Just keep going, because if you're experiencing difficulty in high school, life will end up getting better, assuming you work hard on yourself and you do the work. So that's all I wanted to say in this little story time, why I thought high school was tougher than college. Lots of people, when they meet me, they first think that I'm actually a really good, they thought I was like a really good student all my life. Wasn't really the case. I kind of screwed around my freshman year of high school, and I ended up getting like B's and C's. It wasn't until sophomore year that I had like a big transformation where I realized, hey, I kind of don't want to get B's and C's anymore. So let's just start getting straight A's. And even though I didn't get straight A's throughout all of high school, because classes like AP Chinese were so hard, I got a B in that class, and I was so happy I got the B. Yeah, it was so hard. But anyway, regardless of the trials and difficulties experienced in high school, just note that it's going to pay off. Just do your best, learn how to study, and the rest will fall into place. I'm Josh. The MCAT is hard. The MCAT's important, even though this video is not related to the MCAT. See you later.